Good Saturday morning to you all. Hopefully you guys are doing great. We've got another Watchmen update. In this update, we're going to cover President Trump getting checked up after some issues. We have the diagnosis of what has happened and what it means. We've got the United States rushing Patriot battery orders to Ukraine, what it means for others. We've got China blocking U.S. citizens from leaving, and major U.S. companies are now banning travel to China. The Brazil crisis keeps getting worse, and trash strikes happening on both coasts. Even Wendy's is running out of lettuce, and water main breaks. They're happening, and what you need to be doing about it, reminders about some things. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates that you guys are sending in from all over. If you have something to share, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. That gets it to the right place. We do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. Right now, they are giving out free copies of the book, Gold and the Bible. Now, it's not a doctrinal kind of book. It's not a overtly Christian. I mean, it works its way through the Bible and what the Bible teaches about gold and historically what gold has meant to societies. And I think it's a real interesting, important work. So if you want to get your free copy of that from Genesis Gold, there'll be a link at the end of the video. And we'll also put that down in the pinned comment down below. So just sign up and they'll send you the free copy. And they'll also touch base with you to see if you have any questions about what you can do with your retirement account as well. All right, let's get into this. We got U.S. delaying Patriot battery orders for Switzerland in order to send them to Germany so that Germany can send them to Ukraine. We got President Trump threatening to sue the Wall Street Journal over a story that they just published yesterday, alleging that he wrote Epstein a birthday letter. Pretty strong accusation. Wall Street Journal is standing behind its story, saying that it's legitimate, but they've refused to print or to distribute a copy of this letter. And on top of that, I find it interesting. It says, in this book that Epstein had of many billionaires, I think it might be interesting to see what other billionaires in this alleged book and why Wall Street Journal won't cover any of them. If this is a whole book full of people, maybe we should see it, see everyone. Again, it's like it's the list, but we're not allowed to see the list. And they just want to leak a person they think is on there. If there really was this document, why wasn't it used during the presidential campaign? Like they would have. You know they would have. Anyway, President Trump has responded to this by threatening to sue Wall Street Journal for defamation. And on top of that, he is demanding that Pam Bondi release the Epstein documents, which is literally what we've been asking for since like forever. But maybe this time. All right, Wells Fargo, a known collaborator of the United States or whatever, one of their employees got banned from leaving China in what a Wells Fargo representative called an arbitrary exit ban. Wells Fargo, and this is not the only company, but it's the latest company to ban all employee travel to China for fear that they may just get, taken hostage by the country of China. All right, moving on. The U.S. has vowed to quit the International Energy Agency. If you're like, International Energy Agency, what does that do? Well, it was created in the 1970s after the 1970s Arab oil embargo. And its purpose is to basically make projections on oil production and make projections on oil consumption. But it's gotten taken over by a bunch of radical climate warmonger, fearmongers, who are basically using the agency, the international organization, to push the whole green agenda. And so they keep issuing projections on oil consumption that keep being way short of what reality ends up being. So if your only purpose in existing is to make projections, and your projections stink, OPEC, on the other hand, the Organization of Petroleum Creating Countries or whatever, their projections keep seeming to be a lot better, a lot more accurate. Energy Secretary Chris Wright of the United States says that the United States will now either reform the International Energy Agency, or we're going to quit it, which makes sense. But they need to stop trying to shove their green agenda down everybody's throats, and not even doing the one thing that they're supposed to be doing in the first place, which is making these projections, so that, oil companies can then see, oh, well, this area over here needs more oil. We need to make sure that they have more oil. We're running short. All right, President Trump got a comprehensive examination after noticing swelling in his legs. And so they took him in and did a full battery of tests on what's going on with him health-wise. And he's been diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency. Now, we're also being told that it's benign and common in individuals over 70. It's not something that we should be concerned about, but it is not optimal. So I'm not sure what he'll have to do with that, whether be put on medications or anything like that, but he has been diagnosed. Now, I know the White House could have just pretended that he didn't have any health issues. They could have just swept it under the rug, lied to us, sort of like what the previous administration. Anyway, Brazil, after being threatened with 50% tariffs by the United States for their political prosecution of the former president, Bolsonaro, decided to double down and persecute the former president even more for his alleged connections to President Trump. Of course, they're not saying that's the reason. They're continuing to go after him for his alleged plotting a coup. If that sounds familiar to you, yeah, basically is. Basically, they hit him with the same charges that they tried to hit President Trump with. Well, they just raided his house again. Yeah, I know. It's not like he's going anywhere. And they're now, the Supreme Court of the country of Brazil is now demanding that he wear an ankle monitor. They're just trying to humiliate him and hurt him as much as possible. They've already banned him from running for political office. And this is basically a one-man, the one guy on the Supreme Court is basically just making this a witch hunt. I don't want to say the words undemocratic, but it's certainly authoritarian and tyrannical for sure. Anyway, moving on. Flyer Patty says, I was at Sam's today, Sam's Club, in Bullhead City, Arizona. There were just small bags of sugar and small bags of flour, no big ones. Which Sam's, everything's big there, right? Coffee was the highest price I've ever seen, and it was a small amount when it came to Folgers. It usually takes a large section of the row, but all the coffee sections were small. A lot of the spices were empty as well on the shelves. There seemed to be plenty of meat. However, it was quite expensive. Friends, we've told you already the spice shortage is due to one of the main spice companies in the United States that repackages it for all sorts of brands. They went out of business, And so there's just not enough spice capacity. So if you need seasonings or whatever, you need to grab it when you see it, because we're having some supply chain issues with that. Nancy says, we got a watermelon from 2 different places, and both were tasteless. And the second one was mushy in the middle. A whole bunch of you guys are sending in those reports. Haven't gotten those in previous years. The next day, after eating some of it, I didn't feel good. I ended up giving it to my chickens, and we'll try to find some from a farm stand next time. Local farmers, friends, that's the way to do it. Because a lot of the stuff that's being imported from Mexico and other places is not turning out good. Della Whiskey says, I saw at Walmart yesterday in central Indiana that they now offer 1 pound rolls of beef and pork. Beef and pork mixed together. This is kind of more common overseas. I've seen that more because they want to save some money. It's strange color packaging. Please make sure you're watching what you grab if you're like us and you don't eat pork. So, yeah, over in the Philippines, they make these, like if you go to a fast food restaurant, like they make burgers that are like partially beef, partially pork. And so it's kind of like a pork burger kind of thing. They're cheaper, so that's kind of what they do over there. Chelsea says, Walmart heads of lettuce are very small and poor quality at $2.12 a head. At that price, they should be pretty decent quality, but nope. Very little other type of lettuce that are not pre-cut and bagged. Giant Eagle had 1 small head of lettuce, and it was $2.29. Of course, the bag stuff is just ridiculously expensive, right? It's like, how expensive is this bag, right? Tomatoes looked okay and in stock, but the husks on the ears of corn were very dry and did not look good. This is Northwest Pennsylvania. Eyes Wide says, Tacoma, Washington State, we received a news update that the garbage service could stop due to a demand for more money. We are receiving these notifications in multiple areas in Western Washington. Yeah, we got trash strikes happening in Seattle area, showing up in the news. We also had trash strikes starting in Massachusetts. So a whole bunch of places complaining about not having their trash picked up in Massachusetts. I mean, I get that the workers think that they should get more money, but at the same time, it's not like you really have an option here, right? It's not like if the workers at McDonald's go on strike, you could just go to Wendy's or you could go to Burger King. Your trash, it's like if your company doesn't show up, then the trash doesn't move, right? I mean, there isn't really a choice with that. There should be, but in a lot of areas it just isn't. So it's kind of like they know that they kind of have people over a barrel. And when you have strikes like that, it's just like nobody can really fight back against it. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Desiree says, San Antonio, Texas, HEB brand green beans. Now, this is an isolated incident, so, but if anyone else has these same experiences, let us know. The quality ones. Opened up a can and found a green bean that was full of little brown balls. I Googled it. It's yeast and can make you very ill. I'm absolutely disgusted. They cost me so much more, so I thought they would have been safer. I know I ate the other can last week, and I've been sick all week. So I may have eaten some of that then. Is anyone else having issues with green beans out there? J.R. Mustang says, Columbia, South Carolina. I went to Wendy's today for lunch, and they had a sign up saying that they are out of lettuce. Why? Because of bad weather at their supplier. No lettuce at Wendy's. I asked them how long it will last, and they said maybe a few weeks. It's interesting how the fast food places are the first places to run out of stuff. And Wendy's has run out of stuff early in shortages before. They were the first ones to run out of beef before. They were first ones to run out of tomatoes before, and previous lettuce shortages, they ran out of lettuce before. So I don't know if they're becoming a little bit of a bellwether about what's going on out there. So we'll see what happens with lettuce going forward. But if their suppliers are falling through, you got to wonder. All right, Lisa says, I lived in Florida as a teen in 1980 for about 20 years. There were orange groves everywhere, all over Orlando and Vero Beach. You go back now and there are no orange groves, all housing developments. There are still some I have heard of, but not many. It's sad to see that they're all gone. From what I gather, the orange groves are kind of more further south now, like south of Lakeland, heading out to Tampa, and south of Tampa kind of thing. That whole area is definitely a huge orange growing area, but I think they have them all over the state. But yeah, I mean, when the storms came through and damaged all the orange trees, farmers had to choose whether they're going to even stay in the business or not, whether they're going to replant or whether they're just going to kind of take their insurance money and just walk away. Whenever you have insurance money coming in, sometimes you repair your thing or sometimes you just take the money and walk away, right? You got to make your decisions. Same thing with farmers. Kathleen says, I bought some fresh vegetables at Foods Co. a few days ago. That's the name of our Kroger store here in Sacramento, California. I tried to cook the red onions and the white yams. I boiled them for so many hours and they still would not soften up enough to be eaten. Well, I guess you could technically eat them if you wanted to eat a hard, fibrous lump of terrible tasting stuff. I've noticed, on the other hand, hard produce recently as well, like potatoes, but it's not this bad. I've also bought squash that is quite bitter. I wondered where this product is coming from. Well, you don't really know these days where it's coming from, do you? Saddle Tramp says Aldi in Aldine, Texas. Shelves stocked, but just barely. Longtime employees said that they have never seen a shortage like this. Blondie in Northwest Connecticut. Power flickers with very little load. Power surges in the town constantly. Well, once again, that might be more of a house issue. Check to see that. If you get flickering, it's probably your wiring, not so much power companies. Madam K says, Northeast Wisconsin, I'm in a 37-mile area. The grocery stores are all struggling. I stood dumbfounded and looking for all the dairy that is missing in Wisconsin. We are the dairy state. What is going on? Cottage cheese, sour cream, and yogurt. Not one container of Kemp's cottage cheese anywhere. The brand I bought was sour and thick like paste. Ugh. Better prepare Watchmen. When the dairy state doesn't have dairy, you know it's going to get rough. That, or you got to check to see if the government's behind something, right? 8 times out of 10, it is the government's fault, one way or another. All right, this is a tip on sweet potatoes. Thomas says, if you want to make sweet potato slips, take a sweet potato, put it in a jar of water. Over time, it will start producing all the slips that you want. In the long run, you'll save a lot of money. Linny says, just remember to keep well stocked on water. This is a good reminder for everyone. And be quick to fill containers. If you see water gushing somewhere like a nearby curb, my neighbor's easement had 3 areas of gushing water, broken water main. Don't assume that your town knows about the water main break, as I called the village and no one had called them yet. I immediately filled containers for flushing toilets and performing needed tasks, and made sure my Berkey was all filled up. The workmen told us that multiple mains have been bursting due to the heat dome over middle America with no rain, and then followed by these trains of storms. It is now approximately 6 hours later and we still have no running water. So it's smart to fill up stuff. This is a small blip, yet it makes my prepping, such as water filtration, knowing what to do in the cases of water outages, all worth it. All right, friends, please make sure you're stocked up and you're ready to endure whatever outages there may be in your area. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining with us. If you want to get that free book, once again, down in the pinned comment, there's a link right there. Or you can just tap on the screen right there, and they'll take you to that to get your free book. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.